I want what you white hoes get, and I want it today, ASAP, not tomorrow.
Because there are a lot of people in this country who do not like Black women, but Black women are the base of the Democratic Party.
We need our weed. I don't wear it, but we need it.
We are absolutely winning right now. Absolutely. We have done more than change the conversation. We changed the balance of power in the federal government.
Can a nigga live? Can a nigga live? Please.
Give a nigga a break. Give a nigga a break. How much more can I take? Give a nigga a break. Give a nigga a break. Give a nigga a break. How much more can I take? Give a nigga a break.
Rio.
Choose your fighter. Lightning inspired. Fight.
Mic check. Mic check. Is this thing on? I think we're ready to get started now. Wait, let me crack open this beer first. I need a beverage. I'm gonna need some drinks for this.
You know what? Let me hit that. Really? I can handle it.
Smoke them if you got them.
I'm certain that you cannot. Oh, come on, I smoked a ton of weed in the 90s. Right, the 90s.
Yes, yes, boys. We are the journalism now. It is official. Elon has called it. The mainstream media has heard the call. They are crying as would be expected. But we are the motherfucking journalism right now. Pat yourselves on the back, boys. Ladies too. There's a handful of women out there I do appreciate in this right-wing ecosystem. We are the motherfucking journalism. Feels good. Feels good. It's nice to be acknowledged for the great works that you've done. And then watching the internet melt down over this little phenomena, it kind of reminds me of that Conan clip, What is Best in Life? To crush your enemies and hear the lamentations of their women. Oh God, the fucking lamentations. The lamentations of the women. Oh God, this is so good. It's almost too good. I almost can't take it. It's so good. I'm having a hard time taking it. It's just so fucking good, but I will carry on. I will do my part. For I am journalism now. I am journalism. Hear me tweet. It's a new day out here. The mainstream media is finally catching up to the fact that they're terrible and nobody likes them. They're going to try to do something about that. I hear a lot of calls for media censorship. You know, we got to make new laws because these online trolls, they can't be stopped. Can't stop, won't stop. Elon Musk out there telling everybody they can be a podcaster. It's fucking insane. It's terrible. It's terrible. They're going to put an end to this whole thing. They're going to clamp down on it. But not tonight, bitch. Not tonight. Tonight we fucking celebrate. Tonight's a good night. The hoes are mad. Life is good. All is as it should be.
Rage on that beat, going crazy.
Biggest red wave I've seen since Ronald Reagan's 49-state victory.
There were appeals to racism in this campaign, and there is racial bias in this country, and there is sexism in this country.
I can't help but wonder if the American people have given up on democracy.
I hear what you're saying, and I do see it differently because I'm thinking about the people who are not a part of anybody's elite, who are hurting tonight.
If you were a 6'4" white man from Arkansas or from, Florida? Do you think she would be losing by that much?
I think that we've got to be honest. Among Hispanic men and black men, there's a lot of misogyny.
You're sad that people are mean? Well, I'm sorry. The world isn't one big liberal arts college campus. Fuck you. You're all pricks.
There are African American women who know a little bit about being talked down to, and know a little bit about having their economic dreams crushed, who tried to dream a big dream over the past couple of months.
It's not enough to get enough white women to vote for Vice President Harris, a fellow woman. This will be the second opportunity that white women in this country have to change the way that they interact with the patriarchy.
There's misogyny, but it's not just misogyny from white men. It's misogyny from Hispanic men.
Right.
It's misogyny from black men.
And tonight they're trading in a lot of hope for a lot of hurt. And they were hoping that maybe this time, one of their own could be seen as worthy.
Things we've all been talking about, who do not want a woman leading them. Might be race issues with Hispanics. They don't want a black woman as president of the United States.
To all the pollsters, the election pollsters, blow me. I don't ever want to from you again, ever.
People who said that he was a Hitler lover weren't Democrats, they were Republicans. People who said that he was a fascist weren't Democrats, they were Republicans who worked for him.
You gotta be kidding.
Thank you. 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 Thank you.
Oh my God. Is she crazy?
Thank you. Thank you
Wow.
all. Thank you so very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Oh, too many. Thank you. It's about 20. There must be 35.
Traveling from India
That's
to
good.
California with an unshakable dream to be the scientist.
How many people are watching?
Can we tell how many, Dan? How many people are watching?
She's talking about how great San Francisco was before she destroyed it. A lot of talk about childhood. We've got to get to the border, inflation, and crime. Say these out. The things of which she complains. The things of which she complains.
In many ways, Donald Trump is an unserious man.
Oh, you hear that, Phil? It's great, right? Ready? These prosecutions were all started by her and Biden against their political opponents. Me. Get that out right away. She paid and raised bail. She paid bail to get the violent rioters in Minnesota out of jail. I love it. Put it in there. Put it right in with the stuff, right?
With that post, yeah.
Yeah.
This is why they are going to move to censor broad sections of not the internet per se, but social media. If the Democrats ever get a chance, they will kneecap most social media, unless you're like an openly left-wing agenda platform like this Blue Sky place. I hear Blue Sky is being flooded with troons and furries right now, so it's the right place though. It's where they belong. But unless you're a platform like that, you will be faced with a huge censorship battle if the Democrats ever get any power. And even without the Democrats getting any power, be on the lookout for major corporations and platforms to offer some kind of top-down censorship program. Like YouTube did that infamous Manosphere purge, the red pill purges a couple years ago. This is what's coming. And Trump is pointing out why it has to happen. Because we run this shit. It's weird how the left wing socially, they've been sort of known as the creatives, you know, the singers, the actors, the dancers. That the left has owned entertainment and media for a while. But entertainment, broadly speaking, is dying. Everything on mainstream and cable news, I mean, everything on mainstream broadcast television and cable TV is woke and gay. Every channel, even sports. You can't even watch sports without seeing a rainbow flag. A tweet I put out recently, and we're going to play some of these things as like examples, but there was a tweet I put out recently. There was a video that caught my attention over on Twitter. And by the way, Twitter is one of the main reasons for this. Let me finish my thought. But there was a tweet I found on Twitter, and I was saying that all of the comedy left in the world right now is deeply right-wing.
But you could do it either that or separate.
Say more lies, lying about the Project 2025.
Oh, lying against Project 25, which she knows, and so do all Democrats, that I have absolutely nothing to do with.
She says we all know that from terminals.
Now, real quick, let me call out some people. Shout out to my man GD in the chat with the $5 Cash App, kicking the show off. Thank you so much. We are off to a strong start. Got a lot of people in here early. This crowd be getting thick. I noticed y'all, man. This gulag is growing. We're gonna have to knock down some walls and add an extra wing to the gulag. Shout out to my man GD for supporting the show. Appreciate you, bro.
Hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad.
This is about targeting women of color in the United States of America. Don't tell me, because I didn't get a single apology.
Time has expired.
My life was threatened. Thank you.
Hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad.
Shout out to Dolomite with the $2 in the hat, starting the show right. Thank you so much for that, bro.
I need that money.
And then my man Hype, my man True Hype with the $9.99. He says, watching this is better than the they thems. Yeah. I strive to be better entertainment than they them television. It's my one goal as a streamer, is to be more entertaining than the they thems. Be like True Hype, y'all. Smash the Cash App button for me.
Hulk! Smash! Smash you! You make Hulk angry. You not like Hulk angry. Hulk no like fighting girls.
Let me show you an example of what I mean about the only real comedy left in the world is deeply right wing. This is such a random video, but the roasting, oh my God.
It's your favorite food, chicken and rice cube, nigga, something stole a car you can't fly. Next Rush Hour movie will only feature him. Lucky Chad Crow can't drive or swear. To make or steal that airport. Good at basketball because he calculates his shots. Steals from his own store. Bro, gotta be excellent in math and sports. Chica! Rice picker, konnichiwa. He won James Conner, East Milanese. Bro knows exactly how much to steal. 50 cents, 58. Those average at math, Kentucky Fried Cat. Those eating wings with chopsticks, it's small or big. Or calculate the perfect time to rob something. Bro can mathematically explain why he loves KFC. Bro first starts for cards and then converts into housing sheet factory. Bro steals math, come up for fun. If the song Black and Yellow was a person, shut it! Shut it!
Bro, liberals can't do that, bro. Liberals cannot do that. And then too, on a little bit of a side note, the internet is the only place in the world of media where black people don't get their ass kissed every fucking minute of the day. The internet is the only place where you can find media that's not just completely filleting and gooch licking black America. Everywhere in the media just gooch licks black people, and that shit gets on my fucking nerves. But the right wing, there is no gooch licking on the right. You niggas will be treated like everybody else. And I'm with that shit. I fucking love that shit. You can't really make up for that. There's nothing like it. The left wing can't do that. They want to treat us all like retarded kids that nobody can talk means about and shit. I don't like that. I don't like that. Everybody can get it. Everybody's in this game. We're all in it. Everybody can get it. You, me, your mama, your baby mama, everybody can get it. And then speaking of the internet, let me go back to Trump for a hot second. Trump basically mastered not only the art of right-wing trolling, and he kind of brought a wave of right-wing trolling along with him, but in his trolling, which a great troll will do this is the essence of great trolling, and this is why I consider myself a troll, and I'm relatively tolerant of the trolls that wander in here. In your trolling, there has to be a kernel of biting truth. In your trolling, there has to be a bit of truth that is unassailable, undeniable, and if I said it plainly, it might make somebody cry. But I'm clever like that, so I'm going to say something funny to just make you feel awkward. When Trump was on stage at the debate between Kamala, that infamous debate between Kamala, there's only one real moment from the whole debate. Well, there's one moment from that whole debate that sticks out more than any. There's one moment from that debate that just went haywire. That debate will go down as the most infamous, explosive debate in presidential history, and for one simple reason.
They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. Eat the cat, eat the cat. Eat the cat.
President-elect Trump's threat to carry out mass deportations is putting immigrant communities across the nation on edge. Take Springfield, Ohio, where Trump accused Haitian immigrants without any evidence of eating pets. Well, many are now leaving the city fearing deportation. CBS's Nicole Valdez spoke with a woman in Springfield about the uncertain future for her community.
I just boiled that. It takes a long, long time to cook.
Ketley Moyes fled unspeakable violence in her homeland of Haiti.
Yeah, we had like a little black on black race war about this Haiti shit on my panel. Where is Rebel Zoe, by the way? Rebel Zoe, you still around, man? No hard feelings, bro. I never had a personal thing, but I understand you had to rep your people. Things were said, insults were taken and given, bodies were dropped, hoes were mad. We had a good fight. We had a great fight, but shout out to Rebel Zoe. Haitians still got to go, though.
6 years ago, hoping to find peace and a slice of the American dream.
I stay here. I do two jobs to make my business. That's why I don't go back to Haiti.
How many people do you think that you know have left Springfield?
I know almost 10 people.
And who are those people?
Friends, my neighbors.
She saved money for years and recently opened a restaurant. One of the thousands of Haitian immigrants building a life in Springfield, Ohio.
Bongo, can I have you?
Who now find themselves in the crosshairs of the incoming administration.
We're going to have the largest deportation in the history of our country, and we're going to start with Springfield.
Moist like
the internet did this. The right-wing internet troll farm, meme cannon factory did this. This would not have happened if it were not for these deep, dark pockets of right-wing online content creators. This cat dog story, this story about eating the pets, it literally started out on a Facebook thread. A lady complaining about Haitians not only overcrowding their entire network, but people's cats and dogs, people's actual pets were disappearing. It went from the Facebook meme to other platforms. I found the story on Twitter. I start looking closer into Springfield, and holy shit, what the hell's going on there? I do a show about Springfield, Ohio, and less than a week later, President Trump is on the debate stage saying they are eating your dogs, they're eating your cats. And now look, Springfield's the first place we're going to start the mass deportations. Let's fucking go.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. Eat the cat.
Most are here legally through temporary protected status, which President-elect Trump has vowed to end.
I can't talk.
I know, it's difficult.
I'm scared because
in America, they eat cats and dogs, but in Haiti, they eat people too. I know. Listen, it's terrible. I understand. You're afraid. She's an old lady. I'm not even celebrating, her having to go back to Haiti per se, but it's not personal. It's business. We got to clean up our house. We have problems that have to solve. America first. That's how this works. There's going to be some tough calls that have to be made.
on my business, Haiti is born. I lost my mom. Someone come in the business. They shoot my mom, the gun, burn my business, get deportation, go back Haiti. For me especially, I gonna be dead. I gonna be dead.
Listen, man, y'all gonna have to kill them niggas. That's the only advice I really can give to the people going back to Haiti and they're afraid of like the cannibals and the gunmen and all that. Y'all gonna have to kill them before they kill you. Eat them before they eat you. How about that? I know you have to go back to the cannibal island, but that's my only advice. That's all I got for you, baby. Eat them before they eat you. Eat or be eaten.
Many Haitians are leaving town, even Moise's own daughter.
When your daughter told you she wanted to leave, did you think about also leaving?
Yes, I keep thinking about that. I don't know where I'm gonna go, but I keep thinking about that.
We're hoping everything works out the way it needs to work out, you know? Okay. God somehow works everything out, you know?
If you got God, you have everything.
That's right.
Look at these nice white Ohio people stopping in to taste some exotic Haitian food. You've never seen anything on this menu ever in your life, sir. I wonder if CBS bought that meal for you for this whole news shot. Did CBS buy lunch for your family so they can do this little news thing?
No.
If you got God, you have everything.
That's right.
I mean, it just is me. I may be a little bit biased, I suppose, but I bet you a random white person in a Haitian restaurant in the middle of Ohio almost never happens.
Faith fueling Moise's motivation to keep cooking, to stay in Springfield. While her business and her future hang in the balance. Nicole Valdez, CBS News.
Trump did that for us. The media made it a thing, and Trump made it real. And the news media is effectively flat-footed when it comes to that sort of thing. They have no idea how to respond to the changing social media news landscape. And after taking this huge loss at the polls the other day, they're in a bit of an existential crisis. They're having an existential viewership spiral right now. All your favorite left-wing news shows are taking big hits to their audience right now.
Imagine you're CNN and MSNBC. You're at a point that you're okay losing to Fox. You're at a point that you're okay losing to Rogan. You're at a point that you may even okay losing to other podcasters, right? You know, election night, some people are putting more numbers than you are. We did that on election night. You're like, listen, those guys are amateurs. We're pros. We built the Titanic. The amateurs are building the Joe Rogan Experience, the PBD podcast, all this other stuff. But these are amateurs. But imagine you wake up one day and your producer comes to you and says, guys, what? Hallmark just beat us. Well, bro, what are you talking about? Hallmark just beat us.
And now you have to get roasted by all the guys like me. Not only do you not bring in viewership, not only have you basically lost all trust that people had for you, now you got to get roasted all the time now. And here's the funny thing about the right-wing media. A huge chunk, a good like 30-40% of right-wing media is basically laughing at the left. Like they make themselves soft, juicy targets. And it's too easy to just point out how awful they are. I can make a good show by pointing out how terrible their show is. That's how easy it is.
Tell me nobody's written that article yet. Bro, they wrote it already. That's bullshit. No. Hallmark? They make cards. Give them a Hallmark. Hallmark beat CNN and MSNBC in viewership last week.
No way.
Here's a
Hallmark?
supersized guide to rating in all 32 new holiday films. Can you imagine that?
Man.
How do you let Hallmark beat you? You can let a lot of people beat you. You cannot let Hallmark beat you. We're talking about practice, right? We're talking about Hallmark. We cannot be talking about Hallmark here, right?
How you getting roasted by squares like Patrick Bet David? You get roasted by squares. You get roasted by the fucking Hallmark Channel. The roasting will never stop. Everybody got jokes now. Everybody got jokes. We are the cool kids. I said this like right after the election. It was like a side of the road lunchtime rant, but basically we are the fucking cool kids and we got to drag our nuts now. And this is what it looks like. Even squares like Patrick Bet David get to roast you now.
NBC in viewership last week.
No way.
Here's a
Hallmark?
supersized guide to rating in all 32 new holiday films. Can you imagine that?
Man.
How do you let Hallmark beat you? You can let a lot of people beat you. You cannot let Hallmark beat you. We're talking about practice, right? We're talking about Hallmark. We cannot be talking about Hallmark here, right? I mean, you understand what the reference of the great AI.
They are taking Musk's comments seriously, whether he's trolling or not. There is a serious undercurrent to this, and it is the following. In some countries where we've seen democratic backsliding, where some oppositional media outlets have been captured by the government, a process known as media capture, this is exactly what happens. An ally of the leader, like Musk, comes in and buys a media outlet that is viewed as oppositional, and then he turns the content and makes it more friendly to the person in power. That has happened before in other countries. That's part of the concern when, even if Elon Musk is just joking, that's part of the concern here when it comes to MSNBC. But at the moment, this spinoff that Comcast is doing will take at least a year to complete. There's no immediate sale or any of that, I'm told, that is planned. They are taking Musk's comments seriously, whether he's trolling or not. There is.
Now they're worried about being bought by Elon. Elon bought Twitter and turned Twitter into the focal point of right-wing dissident content. And now if he buys MSNBC, oh my God, this will be bigger than when Fox News hit the airwaves.
There are two sets of laws and rulings we have to deal with. the Supreme Court has allowed this unlimited amount of money dumping in. And then, there are legal protections that allow these companies to do what they want to and do what they will. I think in a normal country, we would say, hold on a second, maybe we need to have a different set of regulations for social media platforms now that they're this big. Maybe we need to have less money in the system. But that conversation is not happening yet.
I mean,
There are two sets of laws.
And because they can't compete, all they know how to do is cheat. And so they'll try to just shut down social media because nobody wants to buy what they're selling, so they have to shut down all the stores. That's the only way that works. It's gang shit.
And will put the Department of Justice of the United States back in the business of justice. We will double the Civil Rights Division and direct law enforcement to counter this extremism. We will hold social media platforms accountable for the hate infiltrating their platforms because they have a responsibility to help fight against this threat to our democracy.
She's talking about me. The bitch say I got responsibilities and shit. Joke's on you. We don't have a democracy. We live in a democratic republic. We live in a constitutional republic. Democracy is for like retards and shit. We don't do that. Ew, it's gay.
And if you profit off of hate, if you act as a megaphone for misinformation or cyber warfare, if you don't...
I be cyber warring? I didn't realize I was cyber warring. Is that what this is called? Am I cyber warring? I know I'm not misinforming. I don't do misinformation. Most of what I do is play other people's videos. If somebody else is lying, that's not on me.
Police your platforms. We are going to hold you accountable as a community. And we'll put...
Kamala, hold these nuts. That's all I got for you. Hold these nuts, okay? When you're reaching for my accountability, I hit them under my nuts, all right? So hold my nuts. How about that?
Think critically. Well, it would help if we could regulate social media because one of the biggest offenders is DC and Congress have not been able to do one thing in regard to the rogue corporations
It's
of
not going to
social
get any
media.
better with Elon Musk now in the administration. I want to think critically.
Everybody hating on Elon right now. Because Elon buying Twitter was a huge boost to the right wing, to Trump obviously, but to the right wing cause broadly. If Twitter stays as based as it is right now, and listen, there's criticism. There's people who get banned on Twitter for saying the wrong thing, criticizing the wrong tribe or whatever. But it's still by far the most based right wing platform out there. There's nothing like Twitter. I don't even think Trump's whatever Trump's social media is as based as Twitter. And if it stays this way for a couple of years, like definitely for the next 4 years, but if it just becomes an online universe of right-wing content, it's going to be hard to get people away from it. Because we've all, the trans issue is such an obvious tell, right? Like, if you would lie to me about something so obvious, you're probably lying about a lot of other things too. And so once that kind of reality has been revealed to a lot of people, it's just hard to go back.
Well, it would help if we could regulate social media because one of the biggest offenders is DC and Congress have not been able to do one thing in regard to the rogue corporations of
It's not going to
social
get any
media.
better with
What is a rogue corporation of social media? Somebody tell me what that is. I don't even understand how to visualize that in my mind. What is a rogue corporation of social media? I mean, you're talking about Elon, obviously, but like the guy that makes Tesla and rockets, he's rogue. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Elon Musk is secretly a Bond villain, but you liberals aren't worried about that kind of high-level shit.
one of the things that's changed even since I got involved in politics is just the rise of the percentage of people who get their information off of platforms that have no fact-checking mechanism and no accountability for having disinformation spread, right? And as you know well, and I mean, when I got started in Democratic politics, you know, most of it was like local TV ads. That was what it was about. Obviously, national TV, local print. Those local TV is held to a higher standard of accountability than social media platforms in terms of having accurate information on their platforms. That is crazy. And so it is, how does it change? How are people held to account? Laws have to change.
I want to ask you about one thing that's gotten some attention this week from the book, which was a story you told about President Biden looking at his watch after caskets had come back from Afghanistan. The story was not told it completely accurately, which you've acknowledged. I know some of the folks, including some of the families of those soldiers who were upset by that.
See, the problem with social media and a place like Twitter becoming the #1 social media platform online is now that we have what's effectively a database. Because that's how I've been using Twitter. If you notice, ever since I joined Twitter maybe 2 years ago, I've done the majority of my content off of Twitter. And it's not just political content. I find all kind of fuckery on there. But what Twitter has become is an online database of right-wing, well, not right-wing, let me say it like this, an online database of left-wing hypocrisy and straight-up lying and disinformation. It is the main online place to find immediate proof that the left-wing news media is flat out lying or manipulating the narrative to a story. You won't get all the deep details of like George Floyd's autopsy results if people didn't spread them all over Twitter. Once the Springfield, Ohio story hit Twitter, that was basically an alley-oop for Trump to slam dunk at the debate. There's no coming back from that. You can't, there's no way the left can really overcome this sort of phenomenon.
You can't run a platform.
This is a person named what does that say? Jabba the Hutt? I'm sorry, no. Joan Donovan. How did I misread that? That was wild. I could have sworn I said Jabba the Hutt. Oh, they got my popo so low. Ho, 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 ho.
At the whims of one man's decisions. And so I do think that it really creates a massive national security issue for every country that allows these platforms to persist without strict adherence to even enforcing their own terms of service. And there are different ways that we might combat this as a society, but the idea that good speech will win, it just doesn't hold true.
Good speech is winning. Ain't my speech good, bitch? So Snorlax looking bitch trying to tell me my speech ain't good. This is the goodest speech you ever heard, motherfucker. The good speech won. That's why Trump is going back to DC, because the good speech won. You guys speak transgender shit. You guys talk that rainbow shit. That's not good speech. You guys speak with a gay tongue. That's not good speech. I talk good speech.
Anymore. Really, what wins online is content that is novel and outrageous, which tends to be conspiracy, hateful, derogatory content that sort of activates the excitement we get when we read, a tabloid magazine.
Aw. There's too much hateful, derogatory, right-wing content. Aw.
You're sad that people are mean? Well, I'm sorry. The world isn't one big liberal arts college campus. Fuck you. You're all pricks.
Give a nigga a break. Give a nigga a break. How much more can I take? Give a nigga a break. Give a nigga a break. Give a nigga a break. How much more can I take? Give a nigga a break.
Last week, he's here, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he's there.
Last week, you were awarded the 2024 Fourth Estate Award by the National Press Club, along with Axios's the great Mike Allen. So congratulations.
That's
the award recognizes journalists who have made significant contributions to the industry, and you have. Specifically, you and Mikey were awarded for your work that has revolutionized how audiences consume news. And we have some of the remarks you made during your acceptance speech. Let's listen.
I hate this damn debate about like, oh, we don't need the media. Like, it is not true. Think about what makes this. I love this country. I'm a beneficiary of this country. Like some from Wisconsin who can come and start 2 companies, be up here, win an award, sit next to Mikey. I'm a beneficiary of it. But there's something about the country. There's something about it, right? There's something about freedom, capitalism, the animal spirits of democracy. But at the core of that is maybe transparency, maybe a free press, maybe the ability to do your job without worrying to go to jail. Maybe the ability to sit in a war zone and tell people what's actually happening so they're not just looking at distortion matters. It matters profoundly. It's why it's not like we just love getting up at 3 or 4 in the morning doing this every single day. Like, we do it because we love it. We do it because it matters. The work that we do matters. Everything we do is under fire. Elon Musk sits on Twitter every day, or X today, saying like, we are the media. You are the media. My message to Elon Musk is bullshit. He's on Twitter every day, or X today, saying like, we are the media. You are the media. My message to Elon Musk is bullshit. You're not the media.
Hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad.
This is about targeting women of color in the United States of America. Don't tell me, because I didn't get a single
Time has
apology.
expired.
My life was threatened. Thank you.
Hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad.
We are the media. We are self-taught, experienced, and privately funded. And most importantly, we just don't like you. We just hate you guys. And we're going to spend our money hating on you. Speaking of spending your money hating on them, shout out to the Pookie and Ray Ray show with the $3 cash app for supporting the show. Thank you so much. Spend your money hating on the left wing. That is proper based right-wing behavior. I'm spending money to hate on you. Shout out to my man Brad with the $5 give a nigga a break cash app. You guys, y'all love that shit, don't you? Be like Brad, y'all. Support the show, man. Give a nigga a break.
Give a nigga a break. Give a nigga a break. How much more can I take? Give a nigga a break. Give a nigga a break. Give a nigga a break. How much more can I take? Give a nigga a break.
That's why we're the fucking journalism now. Because you wouldn't stop fucking with us. You kept pushing. You wouldn't give a nigga a break. Now we're the journalism, and you're the hoes mad.
You having a blue check mark a Twitter handle, and 300 words of cleverness doesn't make you a reporter any more than me looking at your head and seeing that you have a brain and telling you I have an awesome set of tools makes me a damn neurosurgeon.
I'm a reporter like you now. Ah, it's so fucking easy. It's so easy a caveman can do it. Ah, he mad. I'm a reporter too now. I'm a journalism and I'm a reporter, bitch.
Right? Like what we do, what journalists do, what you did in Mississippi, what Al Jazeera does in the Middle East. You don't proclaim yourself to be a reporter. Like that's nonsense. Like being a reporter's hard.
No, it's not. It's not that hard. Ah, he mad. He mad. That nigga went to school for 11 years. He went in like $90,000 in debt to do a job that niggas is doing from their basement right now. Hell, 30% of my shows, I didn't even put my clothes on. I just woke up in the morning in my underwear, and I was the reporter too, nigga. He bad as shit. He bad as shit. I'm a reporter too. On the side of a road, at a random truck stop, sitting in my fucking truck, I'm a goddamn reporter too now. You fucking mad. You hate that shit.
Hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad.
This is about targeting women of color in the United States of America. Don't tell me because I didn't get a single
Time has
apology
expired.
when my life was threatened. Thank you.
Hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad.
Makes me a damn neurosurgeon, right? Like what we do, what journalists do, what you did in Mississippi, what Al Jazeera does in the Middle East. You don't proclaim yourself to be a reporter. Like that's nonsense. Like being a reporter's hard, really hard. You have to care. You have to do the hard work.
You motherfuckers don't care. You really trying to convince me I'm an adult? I've been living in this world. I've been in this existence, in this reality for over 40 years, and you really trying to tell me that the people on TV care? Next, you're going to tell me that the hooker loves me, right? I'm her favorite customer, right? The strippers really, really like me. The strippers dig me, right? Yeah. I know. I'm so handsome, right?
You have to skid up every single day and say, I want to get to the closest approximation of the truth without any fear, without any favoritism. You don't do that by popping off on Twitter. You don't do that by having an opinion. You do it by doing the hard work.
Yeah, come on, slow clap, everybody. Whoa.
Look at all these fucking MSNBC goons. Slow clapping faggots. Oh, you mad, bitch. You mad. Don't hate. Congratulate. I'm the journalism now. Look at me. I'm the journalism now. Y'all hoes mad as shit.
First of all, I've got to say, extraordinary content. It needed to be said.
Yeah.
It continues to need to be said. When all of the garbage is flying around on social media, lying about reporters, lying about the hard work they do, lying about the hard work editors do, lying about everything up and down.
You're going to stop calling me a liar. This is why you motherfuckers is losing, because you think I'm lying. I've been through this too many times on too many different channels and platforms. The left, like the average person on the left, is almost incapable of truly understanding just how awful the left has grown over the years, right? It's like yesterday we had Stanley on the show. Stanley is he's from the John Galt channel, and Stanley and I we argued a bunch of times about a bunch of stuff over on his channel, and one of the things I think I would attribute to a guy like Stanley and the rest of the black left-leaning people that I've argued with over the years is that I present information that they are either, one, completely unaware of, and so it just catches them off guard, and thus they don't even believe me, or two, they are just totally incapable of grappling with the sheer depravity of their own party. And when you present certain facts and situations to them, they get upset with me and call me all kind of names for pointing out something that was completely true. I remember the first time this happened, it was years ago back on Bernard Riley's show. I was arguing with a guy named Complex. He's a brain trustee. And then there's a guy named MOT, the Man of Tomorrow. You guys remember the Man of Tomorrow?
It's Uncle Remus, spinning his warm, funny stories.
What black women are doing, I don't care. They're their own group. When they decide to work with us, they will. Otherwise, they won't. And they don't have to. They have their own power, their own productivity. They don't need us for anything. And I'm okay with that.
The key to happiness is to eliminate all black women from your life. I mean, look at me. No black women in my life. Look how happy I am. I'm happy as a nigga with a new gun.
Now, Ruckus, that is preposterous.
So anyway, years ago, I'm arguing with Complex and Man of Tomorrow about how crazy the left wing has gotten. And I'm telling them a story that I had just read in the Los Angeles Times. Some kid who got arrested, he went through the juvie system in California, and they forced him through a transgender transitioning. They gave him drugs and shit. They basically chemically castrated this boy in the LA jail system, and he was a juvenile. And so, me being a dumb, being bombastic, I'm like, yo, they're forcing boys to transgender in California. And so immediately, they stop lying. They're fucking lying. Blah, blah, blah. These motherfuckers tell me I'm fucking lying. They swear to God. And then we pull up the link. And they still don't want to believe me, even though I showed them the link to the article. This is what we're up against.
About not only their alternative set of facts, but alternative set of facts about what people like you do. And I love how you connected reporters in Mississippi in the 1960s to reporters fighting for their life to get the story out in the Middle East today. Jim, it was very powerful.
Really good.
You hear this gooch licking? Oh my God, you guys licked the gooch. If you're unfamiliar with a gooch, the gooch is that little strip of flesh between your asshole and your front hole. And God, these guys, they just lick the gooch so hard. Yes, a low information gooch licking reporter. Jesus Christ. I know he's the Axios president. I know he's like a liberal big dog, but can you remove your bottom lip from his gooch? Yeah, the taint. I think white people call it the taint.
Very powerful. Even if even if we had to beep you more than we would if we ran a Dave Chappelle concert,
I
it was
like
still
it, because
good.
Jim's mild mannered.
He preached it though. The cadence. I mean, I might get him ordained.
Well, let me just say why this is so important right now, more than ever, is because critics of the press are feeling more empowered than ever to lie more than ever. I've had friends for years going, when.
Yo, y'all gonna stop calling us liars, all right? You're gonna respect my fucking misogyny. I may joke about a lot of shit, but one thing I don't lie about is misogyny and how lame and gay you guys are. Y'all gonna respect that.
I'm so overwhelmed, Joe, by the news. I don't read the news. I go, where do you get your news then? Epic Times. I go,
oh God.
Oh, you get your news from a website run by Chinese by conspiracy theorists in a Chinese religious cult. That is where you get the
No, I get my news from a guy who uses a little gremlin as an avatar, and he never cams up anymore. I think he lives in like Romania or something. You know, shout out to Romanian V. I get my news from little weird guys who don't even live in America anymore. I don't even know what Axios is. I mean, what was that, Epoch Times? I don't even know what Epoch Times is. Matter of fact, I think they used to give that paper away for free. Yeah, I used to see that. It was like the paper. Epoch Times was like a newspaper next to the newsstand that you didn't have to pay any money for. Who the fuck reads that shit?
Social media, people lying every day, every hour, every minute about the news. What you do matters. What the New York Times does matters. What the Wall Street Journal does matters. What Jonathan Lemire does matters. What the Financial Times does matters. What NBC News and MSNBC reporters do matters.
Can a nigga live? Can a nigga live? Please.
Give a nigga a break. Give a nigga a break. How much more can I take? Give a nigga a break. Give a nigga a break. Give a nigga a break. How much more can I take? Give a nigga a break.
It matters.
And it doesn't mean there aren't things that we get wrong. And the reason I guess I was hopped up at that speech was I listened to so many reporters who feel like the industry's going to hell. Nobody trusts them. They're demoralized. And the truth is we don't have time to be demoralized. We don't have time to whine. We have to do our job. Like there is a information war out there, and there's still tens of millions of people that depend on great reporting. And it's our job to make sure we create viable businesses around it and that we really do try to get to the closest approximation of the truth. Maybe do a little bit, maybe be more curious than condescending, maybe a little more fearless than foaming at the mouth. And I think
You see, the news media is kind of in that bully position. You know how, like, as a kid, every now and then there's sort of a bully, and you know the classic advice, you know, just punch him in the mouth, right? And then you get punched in the mouth as the bully. Most kids aren't that, most bullies, as they say, aren't that tough. And the news media is kind of going through a scene like that right now where they've been punched in the mouth really hard. Because you guys have just been talking shit about regular people. Everybody's misogynist. Everybody's sexist. Everybody's racist. You're xenophobic. You don't like this. You don't like that. Blah, bitty, blah, blah, bitty, blah. And now y'all you just got punched in the mouth. And now it's like, you know what? Maybe I should change my ways. Classic story. Seen it a bunch of times.
I think if we can do those things, I think we can win back people who are skeptical. The entire social media ecosystem, a lot of the things you just mentioned, they feed off of all of us trying to get to the closest approximation of truth. So people just I think they need to calm down. I know there's a lot of your viewers who kind of wish that.
No, we feed off of you guys being terrible. That's what we really feed off of. You guys are so fucking trash. It's like nourishment. That's why I said earlier, almost a third of right-wing content is basically just making fun of you guys because you suck so bad. And not only do you suck, you're just not fun anymore. And then let me show you something really quickly. This is what I mean about Twitter becoming something like an online database of left-wing media bullshit. Let me share this with you guys.
First, let me bring in John Coleman. He's in San Diego this morning. Thank you for being here.
It's nice to be on CNN. Hello to all your viewers. I resent you calling me a denier. That is a word meant to put me down. I'm a skeptic about climate change, and I want to make it darn clear, Mr. Kennedy's not a scientist. I am. He's the CEO of the Weather Channel now. I was the founder of the Weather Channel, not the co-founder.
And I'm glad you did, because I am addicted to the Weather Channel. I watch a lot of cable news.
Now. Hold on just a minute. I'm not done. And CNN has taken a very strong position on global warming that it is a consensus. Well, there is no consensus in science. Science isn't a vote. Science is about facts. And if you get down to the hard, cold facts, there's no question about it. Climate change is not happening. There is no significant man-made global warming now. There hasn't been any in the past, and there's no reason to expect any in the future. There's a whole lot of baloney. And yes, it has become a big political point of the Democratic Party and part of their platform. And I regret it's become political instead of scientific. But the science is on my side.
I don't think we're going to come to a conclusion about the topic right here. What I do wonder,
I know
though, is
we're
when
not,
you
because
see
you wouldn't allow it to happen on CNN. But I'm happy that I got on the
we've
air
been
and got a
talking here for
chance to
several
talk
minutes.
to your viewers. Hello, everybody.
What
There
I
is
do-
no global warming.
What I do want...
That sometimes everything was just like boom, boom, boom on one side. But we have to bring people facts. We have to bring people clarity and hopefully reported insights so they can ultimately make better decisions and understand a very, very complicated world.
By the way, we've got great viewers. And you know what our viewers are? They're family. We got a family that understands because they've been around. You have a family that follows you that understands because you've been around. The New York Times has a family, Wall Street Journal, these places that have great reporters, right? They don't need to worry about what happens over the next 5 minutes or the next 5 weeks or the next 5 months because you print truth all the time. And like you said, this is what gets me. If somebody pops off on Twitter or some other social media and they lie, they make mistakes. You know what the cost of that is? Nothing. They do it again. In fact, it helps them because the algorithms are rigged. So you stir up shit and you the more you can get people angry, the more followers you get, but also now it's monetized to help you lie.
Hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad.
This is about targeting women of color in the United States of America. Don't tell me because I didn't get a single apology.
Time has expired.
My life was threatened. Thank you.
Hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad.
Boy, I haven't seen such unhappy hoes since I stopped going to strip clubs. God damn. Y'all the most miserable bitches I've seen in like a decade. Jesus Christ. I should toss one of you hoes $1. You so fucking sad right now.
The more you hate, the more you make.
Yeah, there you go. I like hey, Rev, did you preach for you next weekend?
That'll go viral.
I like that.
I like that.
But Jim, here's the deal that I explained to my friends that go into the gutter and get disinformation. I say, there's no cost for them lying to you. But if Jim Vandehei has a reporter that gets it wrong, well, they're editors. If the New York Times gets something wrong or the Wall Street Journal reporters get something wrong, they're editor after editor after editor after editor. And they check it and they make sure it's right. They make sure it's double and triple sourced. And still sometimes they get it wrong. And so then what happens? They either retract it or most likely they get sued. If
Fighting for your credibility is you guys look so lame right now trying to fight for your credibility back. Trying to defend everything you've done up to this point which are the exact things that people kind of hate you for now. It's such a bad look. That's not the flex you want to be making right now. And the simple fact is, everybody watching, everybody who's been paying attention know that you guys cannot change. It's going to take a long time for you to break off this path. And I don't know if it's possible, certainly not in the near future. Let me show you something. This was comments from Hillary Clinton not too long ago.
Here's what disappoints me, and it's not about you, Madam Secretary. I'm shocked that no person, no Republican, no Democrat is championing this issue. The social science is so clear. The political science is so clear. Our fabric is frayed as a nation. Our kids are disconnected. Too much time behind closed doors on devices and not enough time replicating the experience of their parents and grandparents. So what do we do about it? What do we do about it for your grandkids?
Well, Michael, there are people who are championing it, but it's been a long and difficult road to get anything done. Actually, we can look at the state of California, the state of New York. I think some other states have also taken action, but we need national action. And sadly, our Congress has been dysfunctional when it comes to addressing these threats to our children. So you're absolutely right. This should be at the top of every legislative political agenda. There should be a lot of things done. We should be, in my view, repealing something called Section 230, which gave platforms on the internet immunity because they were thought to be just pass-throughs, that they shouldn't be judged for the content that is posted. But we now
don't judge me for my memes, okay? I am a creative soul. I make attempts to describe the realities of the world. At times, my attempts to describe the world may appear offensive and garish even. Don't judge me for my memes, okay? Don't throw me in jail for my memes. That's what they're doing right now in the UK, by the way. That's literally what's happening in London. Old ladies are being arrested and thrown in jail because they make memes and they share them on Facebook and shit. They want to bring that to America, by the way. We didn't have a First Amendment because, like, the UK doesn't have a constitution. They just got a bunch of homos and wigs writing shit down and calling it laws. But in America, we have a constitution. We have a First Amendment. So you can't just throw me in jail because I made a meme about you being weird and gay. But in England, they have meme jail. I mean, it's basically real jail, but they put you in there for memes.
now know that that was an overly simple view, that if the platforms, whether it's Facebook or Twitter X or Instagram or TikTok, whatever they are, if they don't moderate and monitor the content, we lose total control. And it's not just the social and psychological effects.
Hillary Clinton, she wants to be the warden of the meme jail. She ain't doing nothing. She can't be president. Don't nobody want to give her a real job. So she figures she can make a little bit of easy money running the meme jail.
It's real harm. It's, child porn and threats of violence, things that are terribly dangerous. So I couldn't agree with you more. We need to remove the immunity from liability, and we need to have guardrails. We need regulation. We've conducted this big experiment on ourselves and particularly our kids. And I think the evidence is in that we've got to do more. Take phones out of schools. I'm so happy to see schools beginning to do that, where the kids turn their phone in when they walk in the door. And guess what, Michael? It won't surprise you, because
what's really bothering people is not just that the right-wing media is such a strong growing place for discontent, but the youth are more right-wing than ever. The young men especially are probably the most conservative. Well, let me not say conservative. The young men are the most right-leaning generation in a long time in America. And That's kind of a problem for some people. Not everybody really understands how to deal with that sort of reality.
As you're on this, kids are paying better attention in class. They are talking to each other in the lunchroom, things that used to be part of your daily life when you were a child in school.
Now let me share something else with you guys I found. It's a little interesting. Let me point something out. The left wing, well, the media is largely a left wing environment. And although the online internet world is becoming more of a right-wing space, I will say this. There's something else fascinating happening to the left in terms of online dissidence. There is a left-wing online media as well, like the world of podcasters and whatnot. They have a strong left-wing presence. Their platforms are probably, they have more like monetized and syndicated podcasts. Like you'll find, like I played something from the Native Land podcast the other day, and it's like they just hit the ground running with production and a little bit of audience already built in or whatnot. And so they have an online left-wing media ecosystem, right? But even the left-wing online media ecosystem actually hates the left-wing media.
Eugene Robinson, venerable journalist from Orangeburg, South Carolina. I think he's a respectable person. But I think, you've been doing something so long. There's a line in the sand. Washington Post, Eugene Robinson, before Bezos, has written some amazing books as well. Legit. The other person is there for coverage. I feel like they're Black folk that provide coverage for nonsense. And then they have conferences and they give out awards to these people who are problematic. And then there's a backdoor deal. There's a deal that's made that benefits them.
Right now, I think Tariq Nasheed and Roland Martin are beefing over this same kind of thing, basically. Tariq's calling Roland out like you're a paid op for the mainstream monster machine. And what it basically boils down to is you have extremes on the left and the right. And let me not even say, you have the right wing, broadly speaking, and then you have the left wing extreme, who are both equally upset with the media, but for obviously different, even oppositional reasons.
Yeah. While publicly they're working for us, they're not. And it's okay. I mean, those TV contracts are beautiful. People do things for them all the time, and they make concessions with themselves. As somebody that was in that space for a number of years, first at CNN and then at MSNBC, a paid contributor for 3 years, and then got sat down because I didn't realize the rules actually did apply to me. Like I couldn't say what I wanted. I didn't realize that, Joel. I thought, my honesty was what they were, that they didn't want that. When it got too hot,
too honest,
they sat me down.
Yes, even liberals find out that you can't actually be a liberal, a proper liberal, on the mainstream media network. Imagine being a liberal, getting a job at a liberal network, and they say, no, you can't talk about that liberal shit. Shout out to my man Tyrone with the $2 Cash App. Thank you for supporting the show, y'all. We got a couple more things to get through before we wind this thing down. Sit tight, y'all. We are not done yet.
Good afternoon, boys and girls. Shut the fuck up.
Hey, not nice.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Do you need to leave? No, bitch.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I want to have a talk with you guys about something called the woke right. I've been a little hesitant to really get into that because the nature of the subject matter, but I'm going to find a way to talk about it without, angering the YouTube gods. But sit tight. We're going to have a little discussion about the woke right before we get out of here, y'all.
and then cancel my contract, which was interesting. I didn't see it coming, to be honest with you. But in that moment, I realized what the game was. I really understood it, and I said, I'm never playing that game. I make my own rules. You're gonna play my game now, or we just not gonna play. We're just gonna be separate, but equal. Like, I'm okay with that too. But so yeah, I feel the same way that you feel. I feel it's disgusting at this.
Oh, separate but equal is a good thing now. Let me not. I'm not gonna do that.
Point. Now that we know what it is, that feeling in the pit of our stomach. Now you just are playing against our better. Against. I'm trying to.
That's the myth of Black excellence, right? That's the thing that people think, that by platforming these people and supporting them, that they're going to be the people that save us, right? That they're going to be the people that pull us up. They're not going to be hollering "Ollie, Ollie, oxen free" when they get to the top. Never.
They're like, thank you for the penthouse. And the Bentley and the driver and the this and the that. And look at my till. And I'm not, listen, get your, stuff is good. Stuff to have is good. But not at our expense. If that's your only platform. Do you understand? If the only way you make money is through Black trauma, and Black trauma hasn't ended in 40 years that you've been at the helm of ending Black trauma, we have to renegotiate terms.
Even the left is mad at the left. Jamar asks, what the fuck is that on the left? I believe that is Gay Urkel. He works with Karen Hunter. That's the lady's name right there. That is her sidekick, Gay Urkel. But even the left is mad at the left. This is a hard trap to get out of. Your friends hate you. Your enemies hate you. Urkel is wild. You niggas are terrible. Every time I lower the bar, you guys kick it down just a little bit further. But the left is upset with the left, and it's a hard box for them to get out of. And like I said, I don't predict it. They're not going to untie this knot anytime soon. Who knows what they'll come up with next? Look at my girl, Anna.
Well, I started thinking about my own life and how that mindset was actually having a real world impact on my life in terms of just this defeatist attitude, feeling as though I don't have all these opportunities that people used to have in this country. And look, some things have devolved in this country. That's certainly true. However, there is a reason why so many people from all around the world are trying to come into the United States. This is a land of opportunity, even still. And I want to.
Anna Kasparian would be so good. I'm just waiting. I can't force it. That's the beauty. You don't have to force it. You just have to be patient. She's going to become a right winger by default. I mean, Anna is almost a default right winger. She's not quite angry enough yet. I think there's a certain level of anger required for you to really make a break from left to right. You have to, like when she got sexually assaulted, a bunch of homeless dudes tried to rough her up or something like that. And so she told that story, and then she began to notice the hypocrisy and frankly, people on her own team, her own political party, people that are on the left basically started criticizing Anna for complaining about getting almost robbed and sexually assaulted by a couple of homeless guys. And so that started to spark a fire in her, but I don't think the fire is hot enough yet. She's not quite hot enough yet for the right. Anna, you're almost there, but you're just not hot enough yet to be a real right winger. But I have faith in your hotness, Anna.
To find ways to empower people to get after it, to go for their dreams, to not have a defeatist attitude or mentality. I don't want to infantilize people. I think people, regardless of their race, regardless of where they come from, have the capacity to do amazing things. And what I am just disgusted by right now with one faction on the left, it's not everyone on the left, but it is a faction. They are very successful themselves. They've gone to wonderful universities. They've gotten a great education. They have lucrative careers.
Sound like she's talking about all the black people on TV, by the way. Like these bitches.
We are absolutely winning right now. Absolutely. We have done more than change the conversation. We changed the balance of power in the federal government.
Gone to wonderful universities. They've gotten a great education. They have lucrative careers. But their lucrative career really hinges on spreading this message that there are no opportunities left in America. Okay, everything is, all of our systems are set up in a way to discriminate against certain groups of people. They're never going to be able to make it unless we burn the system down. And what that does is it puts ideas, it plants a seed in people's heads, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And I don't want to feed into that. I want to find ways to empower people.
We need our weed. I don't wear it, but we need it.
While also understanding, hey, there are some systemic flaws that maybe we can reform and make better.
Now, speaking of Anna and how the left is also upset with the left, let me share something else with you guys that I just came across a little while ago. Kind of leads up to something. Well, it's going to feed into the next part of the show because we're going to start talking about the woke right in a minute. But Anna has some other things I want you to see.
And at the heart of that is Israel. Israel has been egging the United States on to go to war with Iran on behalf of Israel for years now.
The far left and the far right both take great issue with the Israel issue for different reasons. The far left and the far right don't really approach the Israel thing on the same path at all. But for completely different reasons, the far left and the far right kind of hate Israel.
And, you know, say what you will about Obama. I'm sure you have your critiques, and I do as well. But one of the accomplishments of the Obama administration, along with our Western allies, was the Iran nuclear deal, which ensured that Iran was not developing nuclear weapons. There were safeguards in place. Foreign countries that were part of this deal were able to go to Iran and make sure that they're not developing nuclear weapons. And I think it was a big mistake for Donald Trump to rip up the Iran nuclear deal. And I have no doubt that he did that on behalf of Israel. I'm tired of the American government at this point feeling like more of a puppet for the Israeli government. I want us to actually do what's best for the American people, and going to war with Iran would not make sense to me. But that is what we're inching closer and closer to. And I'm going to be clear, you know, the Biden administration putting out, in my opinion, BS about how Iran is planning assassination attempts against Trump without providing a shred of evidence, in my opinion, is the Democrats' way of egging Donald Trump on in order to continue barreling this country toward war with Iran. And I hope that doesn't happen.
Sure, yeah. I mean, a couple of things.
Now, I take no real criticism with what Anna just put forward there, right? Now, again, that is a left-wing criticism of the Israel issue. Let's just frame it like that for the moment. There is a person very well known on the right. His name is James Lindsay. A while back, this is a tweet here from October. I noticed James started putting out this phrase called woke right. And I paid particular attention to James Lindsay because he's relatively what you might call an intellectual heavyweight on the right wing. You see in his Twitter handle, he calls himself James Lindsay Anti-Communist. And he has done a lot of great work explaining communist theory and the sort of mysticism underlying a lot of these communist ideas. He's very knowledgeable about communism as a thing. And I've been paying attention to guys like him for a while. This is why I like Twitter, because you can follow people and get a piece of their thoughts. This is what he writes here. Today's simple definition of woke right: people who act like the woke left but claim to be the only true conservatives who are acting that way for conservative or ultra-conservative goals, right? Now, you see, it's not exactly a proper definition. It doesn't tell you what somebody who was woke right is. This is just him insulting people, basically. Now, I've been looking for definitions of woke right for a while, ever since I've noticed that James Lindsay he's pointing out the woke right. Let me point something out here. A while ago, there was a YouTuber named Theo Von, and he had an interesting clip on Joe Rogan, and he was talking about how the media is controlled. And here's the thing: when Theo Von questions why the blank controls the media and they hate white people, Joe Rogan responds, because it's part of the woke mind virus. Now here, James Lindsay, woke right, Jew spurging again, playing off Talmud hoax, right? This is what James Lindsay, the anti-communist, says about the quote woke right. And so once I kind of noticed that, I was like, aha, so the woke right are people who notice. You guys remember that Twitter hashtag a while back, hashtag noticing? And so according to James Lindsay, the woke right are the noticers, the hashtag noticing people. And so Lindsay is doing his best to make this concept of woke right a thing.
And James, you mentioned the term woke right. It's a term you and I have both used, but it'd be interesting to talk about it for a number of reasons. But first of all, what do you mean by that term? Because a lot of people are very confused about it.
Yeah, it's not necessarily the best term. It's more accurate I don't use the word woke too. I use it a little too casually still, generally speaking. But I've tried to be very specific when it comes to it, to use the phrase woke Marxism, as in that it's a species of Marxist thought, yada, yada, yada. So we can very easily place that on the Marxist left.
Now, he's essentially trying to associate the right wing with Marxism, which is that's such an odd flex to try to make, bro. Of all the flexes one would attempt, I have never considered that. But here he is on this trigonometry show trying to explain what he calls the woke right.
But I've tried to be very specific when it comes to it, to use the phrase woke Marxism, as in that it's a species of Marxist thought, yada, yada, yada. So we can very easily place that on the Marxist left, right? Well, woke right, another term that might work for that is woke fascism. And just like woke Marxism is technically woke neo.
Now, as a bit of a fascist myself, I take personal offense to that kind of shit. Don't knock fascism until you tried it a little bit. All right.
Marxism, this could be called woke neo-fascism. The more
syllables. Why is it
woke? Well, that's what I wanted to get to. So there are kind of two ways to look at why it's woke. And one is kind of philosophical and one is practical. The practical side is look at how they behave. They behave exactly like the woke. There's the targeted influence campaigns. There's the manufacturing of what the postmodernists called legitimation by parology or whatever. They create the illusion that there's massive support for this and massive distaste for that, using social media manipulations like we just talked about.
He's accusing the right wing of creating social media illusions. It's all smoke and mirrors. all the memes don't mean anything.
They are highly invested in identity politics. The answer for them to leftist identity politics is a reaction identity politics or reactionary identity politics, equal and opposite, or in biblical terms, answering evil with evil, which the Bible says not to do, by the way.
This is that constant accusation that's thrown at the right. If the right wing were to ever get in charge, it's going to be Germany all over again. And the problem with that accusation is that because of the internet and the quote woke right, a lot of people, a significant amount of people, no longer believe that Germany was really that bad. And so your accusations are losing weight. And people are now asking, well, maybe it would be better if we tried some of this stuff just a little bit.
Very specifically. And so there's this, grievance identity. Everything's bad for white Christian men, straight white Christian men. We're the oppressed minority under this.
So now the quote anti-white thing isn't real. Now it's not happening. It's all made up. Nobody's really telling the truth about this. This is all just like an internet theory. People are not let's just say putting intense amounts of pressure on Christians and white people especially. This is all imaginary. People are just making that up. Really, James? I've been watching this for years. The first part I ever tracked was something called it was called the White Wellness Movement. Years ago, I did a show about this. It was like an online content. It's an online school, effectively, that has a pro-white curriculum because the creators feel like the curriculum of modern America is explicitly anti-white. And then there's the No White Guilt channel on YouTube. I showed you guys that before. And so it's interesting that people, especially a guy like James Lindsay, who is his claim to fame is anti-communism, as they say, and he can't see the simple truth right in front of him. And this anti-communism, what you would seem to connect the anti-whiteness to communism. There's ever since the beginning of communism, it was, anti-white to a degree. The Bolsheviks were the Red Army and the White Russians were the White Army. That's literally the history, well, at least one part of the Russian Bolshevik Revolution.
There's an ideology, and this kind of bleeds into the philosophical idea, but we'll get more specific with that in a second. There's this kind of belief that there's this ruling class that's erected an ideology to marginalize people like them. That sounds very much like woke, except instead of saying that it's like the white people create the white ruling.
But isn't it the very people that you would call woke, James, who are also spouting all the so-called anti-white content and rhetoric that you think doesn't exist? The very people you call woke are the people who would be putting forward all the quote anti-white rhetoric. And so it's weird how you especially, who would be so knowledgeable about such things, you just can't see anything like this happening. It's really amazing.
Class created white supremacy to marginalize people of color, especially black and indigenous, and their ways of knowing from getting inside. The woke right, or the woke fascist side, says instead that following World War II, on the back of Hitler and the idea of never again, there was erected a post-war liberal consensus. Starting in the 1940s, immediately, starting in 1945, the creation of the United Nations was part of this. The signing on to the United Nations was part of this. They assigned Bill Buckley, to having done a route to drive the true conservatives to the margins, so that a false post-war liberal consensus.
Now, this guy, James Lindsay, wants to act like the post-war liberal consensus was not actually imposed on America and all of the Western world. Yet, I'm sure as an anti-communist, he is very familiar with what's called the Frankfurt School. In case you haven't heard, the Frankfurt School, to be very brief, was a collection of Weimar Germany intellectuals who were secretly removed from the German war scene and placed in America, and they settled into post-war American universities. They basically set up the Frankfurt School to continue their extreme progressive intellectual pursuit. And they were all a part of the ideological superstructure of what is that liberal post-war world order. James, you should know this. I know you know this, James. Why do you pretend to not know this, James?
Conservative movement could rise up, the neocons, and hold them out. So the neocons become this kind of hegemonic force within the conservative faction that edges out so-called true conservatism and these more dangerous, so to speak, ideas like fascist ideas, like Carl Schmitt's ideas about unbound executives and friend-enemy politics and so on, that these ideas all had to be pushed to the side on the pretext that World War II or a Adolf Hitler can never rise again. And so therefore, the true conservatives who represented conservative politics and kept at bay the beast of the left, which they say is that the right's true function is to keep at bay the left. In other words, to have a war, right versus left, with everybody in the middle, I guess, taking fire in the crossfire. But they believe that this post-war liberal consensus and the neoconservative movement literally was designed to marginalize their perspectives and to keep these other more radical right-wing ideas out of play.
Yes. That's literally what happens right now. This is why a guy like Nick Fuentes will never be allowed on any mainstream right-wing platform. And that is actually a pattern going all the way back to the 50s. And the one consistent attribute that these kinds of people have, the extreme far right guys who get pushed out of mainstream conservative circles, it's basically they notice things that should not be noticed. They talk about people that don't want to be spoken about, and because they can't help but to notice, they just have a predilection for noticing. The mainstream structure of the right-wing conservative movement will not allow those people to have any oxygen in their movement. Noticers are not allowed to breathe. If you notice, you can't breathe. That's the rule on the right wing. Noticers don't get a break.
Give a nigga a break. Give a nigga a break. How much more can I take? Give a nigga a break. Give a nigga a break. Give a nigga a break. How much more can I take? Give a nigga a break.
Can a nigga live? Can a nigga live? Please.
So this is a very woke way of thinking about the world, that there was a structural construction of the social and political and cultural environment designed to exclude people like them in order to be able to achieve certain political agendas. And now they believe that they've woken up to these ideas. Woke. They've found them again. They've read the forbidden philosophers, Carl Schmitt, Julius Evola, James Burnham, and so on. They've read these things, and they're bringing back a true conservatism.
Nah. See, those guys are, I don't know what those guys are. I don't know those. That shit sounds complicated. That shit sounds complicated. I haven't heard any of those names before. I don't know what that means. You know what? I got a book for you guys. I got a story for you guys. I know it's not any of these deep thinking, far right kind of stories, but it's a story that kind of helps to explain the far right noticing phenomenon. It's a children's story. Because I'm not a smart man. I need you to explain things to me like I just got here.
Many, many years ago, when animals could speak, a wondrous thing the ducks befell. Their tale is quite unique. Down by a pond dwelt all these ducks, 10,000 at the least. Their duckish joys were undisturbed by any man or beast. One day, down near the entrance gate, there was an awful din. 100 hens, all out of breath, were begging to come in.
Oh, let us in!
These poor birds cried.
Before we do expire, 'tis only by the merest inch that we escape the fire.
Their feathers burned, their combs adroop. They were the saddest sight. They'd run 100 miles or more, all day and then all night.
Come in, come in.
The ducks all quacked.
For you our hearts do bleed. We'll share our happy lot with you. Just tell us what you need.
And so these poor bedraggled hens amongst the ducks moved in.
For after all,
the ducks declared,
we're sisters neath the skin.
Before too many months had lapsed, the hens were good as new. They sent for all their rooster friends, and those were welcomed too.
Caw!
To please their hosts, these chickens tried to waddle and to quack. To imitate the duckish ways, they quickly learned the knack. This pleased the flock of ducks because it gratified their pride. But hear my tale and learn how they got taken for a ride. The ducks, it seemed, spent all their time in fixing up the place, in growing food and building homes and cleaning every space. They asked the hens what they would do to earn their daily bread.
We'll teach and write and entertain and buy and sell,
they said. And so these hens began to teach the baby ducks and chicks. They traded food and eggs and things with many clever tricks. They wrote great books and put on shows. Of genius they'd no lack. It wasn't long till chickens own the Duckville Daily Quack.
Quack.
One day a mother duck, who took her ducklings to the lake, was flabbergasted when one said,
a swim I will not take. Why, ducklings always swim,
she gasped.
It's what you're built to do. Like bunnies hop and crickets chirp and cows most always moo. Oh, fie!
The mother duck exclaimed.
You're talking like a fool.
Up quacked the other ducklings then.
He's right. We learn in school. You're nuts,
her son replied.
That stuff is all old hat. It's wrong for birds to swim. Besides, it's damn cold on my prat. Such talk must stop,
the mother cried.
Those hens can't tell such lies. For sheer ingratitude and nerve, I'm sure this takes the prize.
But she was wrong, for even then the hens did thump the tub, demanding they be let into the Duckville Swimming Club.
But you don't swim.
the ducks exclaimed.
To join, why should you care? That's not the point.
The hens replied.
To exclude us isn't fair.
The younger ducks who'd been to school agreed right there and then.
To keep them out is bigotry. 'Twould just be anti-hen.
Outnumbered by the younger ducks, the old ducks soon did lose. The hens could join the swimming club if they would pay the dues. That night, the Duckville Daily Quack contained this banner spread. Reactionary ducks are licked. Duckville moves ahead. Down at the Duckville Gaiety, the young set laughed with glee at cracks about old fuddy ducks in burlesque repartee. Next day, the hens were at the club, a petition they'd sent round. They objected to the swimming fund with fury and with sound.
You use our dues to fix the pond, to keep it neat and trim. And this is wrong,
They said,
because you know we do not swim. God help us.
exclaimed a wise old duck.
Those chickens have gone mad. We'll take this thing to court, by George, and justice will be had.
But when they went before the judge, imagine their dismay. A chicken judge decreed that they a heavy fine must pay.
Minorities must have their rights.
The judge declared right then.
To use hen's dues to fix the pond is very anti-hen.
Once more the Duckville Daily Quack emblazoned across the page. Old fuddy ducks refused to see the great new coming age. In Duckville's church on Sunday morn, the preacher spoke these words.
Discrimination's got to stop. Remember, we're all birds.
The wisest duck in all the town sat down in black despair.
I'll write a book,
He thought.
and then this madness I will bear. Let swimmers swim, let hoppers hop, let each go his own way. Let none coerce a fellow bird.
Was what he had to say.
'Twas wrong to force the hens to swim, so here's the problem's crux. It's just as bad for hens to try to chickenize our ducks.
I can't print that.
The printer said.
'Twill put me in a mess. My shop is mortgaged to the hens. The chickens own my press.
This worried duck then tried to warn his friends by speech and pen, but young ducks fresh from school just jeered.
He's a vicious anti-hen.
Now up the stream a little way was Gooseville on the lake. The hens had come to Gooseville too, but the geese were more awake. When the hens began to spoil the young and Gooseville's laws to flout, the geese rose up in righteous wrath and simply threw them out. Of course you know where they all ran. On Duckville they converged.
We've got to take these refugees,
was what the hens all urged. The Duckville Daily Quack declared,
Those geese will stop it not! They plan to conquer all the world! Atrocities they've wrought! That's right!
The young ducks all agreed.
We'll help our fellow birds! Those geese have plans to conquer us! We've read the quack's own words!
They let the hens from Gooseville in, the whole bedraggled pack, and every hen took up a job on Duckville's Daily Quack.
Quack.
When Duckville's mayor's term was up, the quack put up its duck. A vain and stupid duck he was, a veritable cluck. But when he praised the wild young ducks and cursed the evil geese, the quack declared he was all wise. His praise would never cease. The hens chipped in to help this cluck give grain away for free. The old ducks sadly shook their heads, the writing they could see. And sure enough, this stupid duck, he was elected mayor. And from this point on, the Duckville ducks, they never had a prayer. The mayor said,
Gooseville must go! We'll wipe them off the map!
While Duckville slept, the scheming hens for Gooseville set a trap. They called the geese by filthy names. They filled their pond with sticks. They helped the weasels catch the geese and other hennish tricks. The geese got mad and threw some rocks.
It's war!
The quack announced,
We ducks must fight those evil geese, so they've been soundly trounced!
The ducks, who knew not of the tricks indulged in by the mayor, were filled with patriotic zeal and pitched right in for fair. Now when the ducks had whipped the geese, the mayor called,
Retreat! Our handful friends should really take Gooseville's big main street.
The hens are back in Gooseville now. They've starved and beat the geese. They prayed for peace but organized the Henville Armed Police. They drained the Gooseville swimming pond and degoosified the schools. They wrung the neck of Gooseville's mayor on lately made-up rules. They formed a council of the hens, United Birds, the name. The other birds who joined the thing did not perceive their game. No sooner had they set this up than they announced their plan to seize up Swanville as a home for all their hennish clan. They took a vote amongst the hens, and everyone approved.
Swanville was for hens!
They said,
Way back before we moved!
and so they kicked the swans all out, with Duckville's help and power, and Duckville could not understand why swans on them turned sour. By this time, Duckville was a mess. The young ducks had gone mad. They stole and laughed at truth and law. They'd gone completely bad. The hens were selling loco weed in every nasty den, but ducks who dared to mention this were labeled anti-hen. The hens all preached of tolerance. They had evoked the golden rule, but they subsidized the indigent, the greedy, and the fool. At last, the very dumbest ducks began to smell a rat.
This mayor is no good!
They cried.
And we will soon fix that!
But the hens had planned for even this. A candidate they had, whom even wise old ducks believed just never could be bad. This hen-tool duck had whipped the geese. A soldier duck was he. Although the hens had set him up, the ducks all thought him free. This hen-tool got elected through ignorance and greed, through hennish lies in press and speech, and bribes of chicken feed. The hens now kicked the ducks around without a blush of shame, until the mayor ran the town and nothing else but name. They pumped the swimming pond all dry. They taught the ducks to crow. While duckish numbers dwindled, the hens began to grow. The hens stirred up the happy crows from out the piney wood to fight and mix and marry ducks in the name of brotherhood. Things got so bad that 50 ducks who knew of days gone by took up their wives and children and decided that they'd fly. They flew through storm and tempest. They froze and many died. But on they drove until at last a lovely lake they spied. They settled down exhausted, but soon went straight to work to build and clear and cultivate. No danger did they shirk. The first ducks now were long since dead. Their struggles long had ceased. Through hard work and suffering, their joys had been increased. Now, after many years of toil, this little band had grown. The fields around were full of grain from seeds that they had sown. One day, down near the entrance gate, there was an awful din. 100 hens, all out of breath, were begging to come in.
Oh, let us in!
The poor birds cried.
Before we do expire! 'Tis only by the merest inch!
This epic really has no end, because no matter how you fight 'em, those hens will show up every time, and so ad infinitum.
That was excluded from politics roughly since the end of World War II on the bogus pretense of preventing the rise of another fascist like Hitler or Franco or Pinochet. And so
What would you rather read to your kids? The story of the ducks and hens or anti-racist baby? Which one would you rather read? Wasn't that a great story? That was a great woke right children's story, wasn't it? I don't even know if the left wing or anybody on the left can write a children's story that compelling any longer. Classic woke right material from an OG woke right content creator, George Lincoln Rockwell. Look into them yourselves.
So there's a very practical explanation for why they're woke, but especially their behavior. Lots of lying, lots of character attacks, lots of saying no enemies to the right, but they don't actually even attack the left that's their enemy, so to speak, at all. They only attack other conservatives. Lots of power plays, lots of manipulative, speech. And then there's the philosophical, deeper aspect. Why woke? What does woke mean? Woke up to a structural politics that marginalizes people like me. And we need to band together in solidarity, no enemies to the right, in order to be able to create a powerful enough oppressed coalition to flip over the power structure by putting ourselves at the center and claiming power for ourselves. This is explicitly woke, having a critical consciousness about the way the world is organized. Tucker Carlson, for example, if you listen to Tucker, a lot of people really like Tucker. Tucker is pretty critical of America. He's not doing a Howard Zinn critical America theory. Howard Zinn being the one who wrote the People's History, so the Marx.
I think Lindsay, without accusing him of being some kind of agent, which is the easy go-to, obviously, but I think Lindsay is struggling with the factual reality of things. The post-war consensus is obviously a real phenomenon. He didn't coin that term. And then, Tucker Carlson is actually one of my favorite guys to come out of Fox News. He was the only reason to watch Fox News back when he was still a thing on Fox. But this idea that the traditional narrative, the traditional post-war narrative is true. We've learned so much since the post-war, especially in the internet age, especially in the podcast live streaming age. It is impossible to keep convincing large amounts of people that the post-war narrative is completely true. The numbers just don't add up. Like literally, the numbers are off. One of the first things that one of the big things that got Nick Fuentes in trouble was a joke about cookie baking and how it's impossible to bake X amount of cookies in X amount of time with X amount of ovens who had only X amount of capacity. The numbers for World War II are fucking off, man. There's no way to bake that many cookies in that amount of time with that kind of oven.
Just history of the United States, propaganda. He's writing a different critical history of the United States. Well, the Constitution was, not really adequate to prevent all of this. There is a post-World War II liberal consensus or world order that we're all being made subject to. Well, look at how America was involved in all of these things. America bad, America bad, America bad. Also, the UK was pretty bad too. And America bad, America bad. There's this kind of constant critical negativity. You see some of these characters I mentioned.
A lot of people on the right, or what James would call the woke right, but a lot of people on the right, I like to call it not even the far right. I don't even like to really say far right because far right has a negative connotation. I'm on the deep right. I am deeply right wing. I'm not far right wing. I'm not like walking off a cliff. I am deeply right wing. I'm in this shit. And the thing about being deeply right wing is that dark right sounds actually a bit ominous. I think I like that. I'm darkly right wing. I am deeply darkly right wing. I'm Darkwing Duck right wing. But no, the thing about being deeply, darkly right wing is that you accept where your pattern recognition takes you. And it's not an issue of, some kind of evil, overblown retribution, but the world is far darker than we've all imagined. And the people who are deeply right-wing, the people who are dark right-wingers, they are considering this simple question. Did we actually win World War II? Now, to be fair, the quote bad guys did lose, right? Germany did lose, right? But did the good guys win? These are the questions that you ponder if you are deeply and darkly right wing.
Tucker Carlson, but you see some of these characters like Stephen Wolfe, who wrote the book The Case for Christian Nationalism, has put multiple times on social media, and I don't know what he said in public talks. I've only heard one of his public talks, but you see him on social media saying more than once that he has adopted critical theory specifically for his own purposes and to his own ends. He was recently saying on social media, somebody sent it to me, so I have to, I guess, confirm this, but he was saying that, in fact, the critical theory he uses is not the perverted version of critical theory that the left has used. It's its own more correct version of critique that goes back before the left, yada, yada. And so how do you not call the attempt to awaken a critical consciousness of the power structure that you believe has delegitimized your movement? How do you not call that woke, when woke means having awoken to a critical consciousness that there's a structural force that has delegitimized people in your political positionality? It's the exact same thing.
Is it a critical consciousness if it is truly an accurate description? Because my problem with your use of a critical consciousness as terminology is that it is an inherently negative thing, because critical theory, critical race theory, the idea of critical theory is it's dark left-wing ideology. It's deep left-wing. Critical theory is deep left-wing. The problem with critical theory is that critical theory in and of itself is something that you put on the list of noticing behavior. Matter of fact, let me point something else out to you. The entire field of psychology itself, pioneered by Sigmund Freud, is also on the list of noticing material, because Freud himself was a proud ethnocentrist who had an ethnic axe to grind. And critical theory was pioneered by other ethnocentrists who had an ethnic axe to grind. Is it actually critical theory to notice who the critical theorists truly are?
Unfortunately, it's just pushing a people in place kind of driven fascism, as opposed to a we're going to end all oppression by becoming the oppressors communism.
It's very well explained, and that's kind of why I have been calling it, even though I'm not sure it is the best term, but the behavior is the same, right? It's quite obviously the same: victimhood, cancel culture, lying about history, all of this.
Rewriting history, lying about people, digging up people's past to cancel them.
Speaking of people's past, I'm almost positive that everyone in this room is of the tribe. Almost everyone in this clip has been fitted for a hat at some point in their life. A little hat, not a Yankee hat.
It's unbelievable.
The one complaint that people have made about that I do think is valid is that they're not comparable in terms of influence and power. The woke left control, for a period of time, controlled what felt like everything. The woke right isn't anywhere near that level of influence at all. And frankly, I wonder whether, having talked about it as much as you and I have, we've maybe drawn too much attention to a very small fringe. Because when we went to the Trump rally, I didn't see it. I talked to a lot of people there. I listened to all the people on stage. I didn't hear in either the statements or the response to what people were saying, the type of conversation that you see online. So it seems to me like it's a tiny fringe that's being...
And that's the fear right there. And that's what Lindsay actually spoke to earlier. The mainstream right wing doesn't want noticing to go mainstream. And frankly, the mainstream left wing doesn't want noticing to go mainstream. Just like the far left and the far right can't help but to notice? The mainstream left and the mainstream right want you to do anything but notice. This is the great irony of our modern media political landscape right now. You have two opposing extremes dedicated to noticing as much as they can notice, and you have a core center who is arguably oppositional. You have the left and the right at the center, the mainstream left and the mainstream right. Arguably, they are opposing each other, but they are firmly in agreement that none of you people should notice a fucking thing. That's some crazy shit. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but that shit's wild as fuck.
Being amplified by bot farms and foreign meddling and whatever. I think increasingly, I don't think of it as real, even though, as you say, there are one or two people who are very influential in American politics who have flirted with some of these ideas.
Yeah. That's a real thing.
So apparently on December 1st, they're going to have a more full-length discussion drop about why the woke right noticers are bad people and shouldn't listen to them. Don't listen to me. I'm bad people. Apparently, somewhere along the way, I picked up this nasty habit of noticing. I don't know. Maybe I was in a dark place in life. I tried noticing and I liked it. And then I tried it some more. And then I noticed again. And then I just kept noticing until I couldn't stop noticing. And I think I'm addicted to noticing. I just wake up and I notice stuff. I go to work, I notice things. I get off work, I notice things. I go home, I notice things. I just can't help noticing. And it's not like there's a Noticers Anonymous. They don't have an online or a real world support group for the noticers. I just can't stop noticing. Everywhere I go, I notice something like, that's funny. Well, that is connected to that. Wow, that's weird. I just noticed so much. Everywhere I go, I fucking notice, man. I can't stop noticing. I noticed you guys throw some Cash App dollars at me. Thank you so much. We about to wrap this thing up. Shout out to everybody in the audience. Shout out to my man, Full Name, with the $4 Cash App. He says, in Cali here, peace and blessings and a hug. I will accept your hug. I'll take a hug. I'll take a hug. A hug and a couple of bucks is fair. Sounds like some sex work, but you know, I ain't too proud. I'm not too proud for some online sex work. Nigga gave me some money and a hug. It was a little bit weird, but fuck it. We're all in right now. Shout out to my man Dylan with the $5 Cash App. He says, support the Dark Wing. We are so fucking Dark Wing right now. Angry Snowman said, I've evolved to final Karen form. I don't really appreciate you calling me a Karen, but I'm evolving. Maybe I'll evolve past Karen. But I would appreciate you calling me Karen. I know that was an intentional pause. You got to respect my pause game. We gonna make some awkward jokes and all of that every now and then, just to keep niggas on their toes, man.
Give a nigga a break. Give a nigga a break. How much more can I take? Give a nigga a break. Give a nigga a break. Give a nigga a break. How much more can I take? Give a nigga a break.
Yeah. Pause conservative. You know, we do cross the line every now and then. It is what it is. I make no apologies. I just be saying shit. Sometimes it'd be funny. Sometimes it'd be a little over the line. We try. Oh my God. What a fucking night though. I gotta get up in the morning. I can't do a panna. So, you know, my apologies. I cannot do a panna and I'm already a little tipsy. I gotta go to work. I gotta stop drinking after this next drink. but we are allegedly the woke right. I don't like the term woke right. We gotta make dark right. I think instead of deep right. I like deep right. Put a 1 in the chat. We got to do a quick vote. Let me see. I got to do a quick what do you call it? I'm gonna type in a poll. I'm gonna type a poll in the chat. I want to know what you think works better, deep right or dark right. Because woke right, I don't really care for the pejorative connotation of wokeness. I don't really want to be associated with woke in that capacity, right? But I do accept that there is a right wing that is even further to the right than basic conservatism. And there is a noticing component. It is what it is. I try to speak about it without getting all, algorithm dangerous. But there is a noticing component. People on the left, because of these events over in the Middle East, they've begun a pattern of noticing. Actually, I do have a little bit more. I think I got another clip to share with you guys in this noticing vein. But people on the left have noticed in their own capacity, shit's a little bit crazy. Like, wow, I had no idea this was a thing. This is what the left is noticing.
This is why the genocide in Congo, the apartheid in South Africa, and exploitation of Africa as a whole is linked with Israel. Israel's largest export is diamond.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold up. Israel's largest export is diamonds? One thing we should all be in the habit of doing a little more often is using this little supercomputer you have in your hand to double check crazy things when you hear them on the internet. Because we both know that there are no diamond mines in Israel. So I looked it up. And now we both know that, yeah, holy shit. Israel's biggest export are diamonds, even though they don't have any diamonds. Better stop this video before I say something anti-Semitic.
This is why the genocide in Congo, the apartheid in South Africa.
So much noticing going on. You wouldn't even believe the amount of noticing that people have been doing lately. It's almost scary. I think there are people who are legitimately afraid of the amount of noticing that people have been doing in these online spaces. This is a big part of the reason why TikTok won't be a thing in the future. I think they've already decided to sell TikTok to people who refuse to notice.
Pro-Israel lobby is spending a lot of money on American politicians. A Guardian investigation found that members of Congress who supported Israel at the start of its war on Gaza received the most money from pro-Israel donors during their last elections. About $125,000 more on average. Take a look at this chart from the Guardian investigation. Each circle represents a Congress member, and the circle size represents the amount of money they received from pro-Israel donors. You might think the top recipients of those donations were Republicans, but most were actually centrist Democrats, Shontel Brown, Haley Stevens, and Glenn Ivey. And they defeated progressives during primaries. Collectively, they received over $17 million from pro-Israel lobby groups like the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, or AIPAC, and other pro-Israel groups. But these findings aren't that surprising. Pro-Israel groups have a long track record of giving millions to lawmakers. Through November 2023, a month after Israel started bombing Gaza, AIPAC gave $3.7 million in political contributions. And Congress has a long history of accepting millions in contributions from the pro-Israel lobby. On the Democrats' side, as a senator, Joe Biden received the most money since 1990, an upward of $4.3 million. Hillary Clinton accepted $2.3 million. And Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, $1.7 million. And on the other side of the aisle, Mitch McConnell and Ted Cruz are among the top Republican recipients of pro-Israel donations. They've received over $1.9 and $1.2 million respectively. So why are pro-Israel groups contributing to campaigns in the first place? Experts say it varies, but the objectives are usually either to sway legislators to take a pro-Israel stance or to get even more support for Israel from their existing allies in Congress. One such ally is John Fetterman, who received about $244,000 from the pro-Israel lobby, despite billing himself as a progressive during his campaign. But in some cases, the goal of pro-Israel donors is to attack.
Yeah, the noticing appears to be a phenomenon that happens on the far left as well as the dark right. I'm going to close this poll now. It seems like dark right has won the poll relatively decisively, about 60 to 40. Seems like dark right wins the day. We are not the far right. We're not extreme. We're just a bit dark. That's all that is. We're a bit dark. But like I said, that the internet right now, especially the right-wing internet, this is where all the fun stuff happens. The humor might be dark, but it is fun. We have fun.
Batman, I caught a little Pokemon. Do you want to know what Pokemon I caught?
What Pokemon did you catch, Joker?
I caught a little punny, Batman. I caught a little punny.
Oh no, Joker. Don't tell me.
You already know, Batman. You know what I'm going to do to that thing.
Joker, it's an animal, Joker. You can't.
Batman, there's no laws against the Pokemon, Batman. I can do whatever I want with it.
No, Joker. No, don't do it.
I'm going to do it. Batman, I caught a little Pokemon.
So much fucking comedy on the internet right now.
Well, what's false about it?
Well, you tell me.
Well, it's not false to me. Are you saying it's not real?
Well, like so, a trans woman, a man.
They're male. A woman is a female. They're not women.
How so? They say so.
Well, just because someone says so doesn't mean it's true.
So, what makes you Santa Claus then?
I'm not.
Then why are you dressed up like him?
Because I like Santa Claus. It's funny. What about this? How are they women?
Because they say so.
I don't believe them. We don't have to believe them. Just because someone says something doesn't mean we have to believe it. It's not real. If I say I'm Santa Claus, doesn't mean I'm Santa Claus. All right?
What's true about that?
Well, what's false about it?
Well, you tell me.
The left can't meme because they just forgot how to be funny. What else did I want to share? Oh, somebody else put this up here. Let me see what this is. Mr. O sent me this video.
We are in fucking danger. As a child of immigrants who came to this country escaping 2 different dictatorships, We are in fucking danger. This is not a fucking drill. And all the people who are not taking this shit seriously, y'all are the same motherfuckers who, when we told you they were going to overturn Roe v. Wade, you told us we were crazy and we were just inflammatory. And now look at where we are. We told you. And I'm telling you now, as somebody who is a product, the only reason why I am an American New Jersey native is because my parents had to escape dictatorships. And when I use the word escape, I mean escape. We are in fucking danger. As a child of immigrants.
Hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad.
This is about targeting women of color in the United States of America. Don't tell me, because I didn't get a single apology.
Time has expired.
My life was threatened. Thank you.
Hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad.
All right. I think I'm done. Never drink in journalism, y'all. Never drink in journalism. I think I've done too much drinking and I've done too much journalism, and I'm going to quit for the night. I'm going to quit for the night before I do too much. I think I've done just enough. I've done the exact right amount of journalism and I've done the exact right amount of drinking, and we're going to quit while we're still winning. That's what winners do. You quit while you're fucking winning. You don't go back in for another run. Shout out to everybody who supported the show tonight. Thank you guys so much for participating, man. I appreciate y'all for being here. I really do got to get out of here. Thank you so much for being here. We will be back for another show. I don't know, maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day. I got to take a break sooner or later. You guys have a great night.
Aspiring to be patriarchs like what white men have, that isn't freedom. That isn't going to help anybody. It's certainly not going to help black people.
It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done.